Well, today we are finishing up on our messages on strong relationships, strong families, strong lives. It's been a good series. I've enjoyed sharing it with you. I hope it's been a blessing to your life. The Bible has much to say on actually three subjects, but all relating to the same theme. Strong relationships make for strong families. Strong families make for strong lives. They're all related. You cannot have one without the other. It's impossible to have a strong family without strong relationships. It's impossible for people to have as strong lives as they otherwise would have unless they have a strong family. And that's just the way it is. Because God has created us that way. We are people in need of people. You know, God doesn't need anything. Now we do. We have needs. Because we are not complete in ourselves. We are creatures. We have been created. And God, from a technical standpoint, doesn't need us. We need Him, but He doesn't need us. And that's one of the things that makes a relationship with God so powerful and so special. Is God enters in relationship with us because He wants us, not because He needs us. Big difference. A lot of people enter into relationships with other people because they have a common need. And that's not an evil thing to do in and of itself. But if that's all there is a search for the meeting of a need, then there's going to be some precious needs that we all have that are not going to be met. So God created man not because He needed man, but because He wanted man. And He created us for many purposes, but the highest purpose is to have fellowship with Him. That is your highest purpose. If anyone ever asks you, well, you know, what's life all about? Why are we here? We don't even know why we're here. What's our purpose? You've got an answer for them. You can quickly tell them, I know exactly why you're here. I know why you were created. I know what your highest calling in life, what your highest calling and purpose in life is. Yeah, what's that? To have fellowship with God. Above all else, that is your highest purpose. To have fellowship with God. That's why He created us. And that's why relationships are so important. Because without relationships, we cannot fulfill our highest purpose. And the reason that relationships between mankind falter to such a degree that they do is because mankind as a whole does not have the relationship with God that He created us to have with Him. And therefore, we don't have the relationship with each other. And to the extent that we don't have relationships with each other on the basis of our highest potential, our families suffer. And when families suffer, people are suffering because families are made up of people. And lives suffer. Our lives are less than the abundant life that God intended every human being to have. Jesus came to the earth to give you life. He didn't come to make you rich. although He's done that. He's made that provision. But that's not why He came. The Word tells us that though He was so very rich, He became poor that you and I might be made rich. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 9. But that's not why Jesus came. He did that for us, but He didn't come for that purpose. He came that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. And I want to finish up this series today by talking about strong lives. One of these days, each one of us, if Jesus tarries, each one of us is going to face the end of our lives. The only way any of us are going to get out of this earth without dying to do so is if Jesus comes for us before you die. That's the only way. You do have that possibility before you. And we have a great possibility, even perhaps likelihood, that that could happen in our lifetime. It could. But if it doesn't, you're going to be faced with the end of your life. And when you are, what are you going to look back on? Your life. If something doesn't take you out of here so suddenly that you don't have the opportunity, you're going to look back on your life. And it's going to be very important to you how you've lived it. Now, there may be a few people, percentage-wise, in the earth that really don't care one way or the other what their life is, whether it's been productive or not. But most people want to count. They want their lives to count for something of value. Nobody wants to live. When I say nobody, I mean nobody that is thinking right wants to have their lives lived to no avail. They want their life to have purpose. They want to live strong lives. I want to live strong. I want to finish strong. Everything I've ever attempted to do, I go after it with everything that I have the ability to do, whatever it is. That's just part of me. My family was that way. I watched my grandfather work hard all of his life that I knew him. And he lived a lot more of his life that I didn't know him than he did. But growing up, I watched him. And I watched my dad and my grandparents on my mother's side as well. And they were all hard-working people. And they all had a value system. I don't ever remember my parents ever sitting me down and giving me these inspiring speeches that would inspire me to go out and do good with my life. That didn't happen as far as I can remember. They lived that example before me. Those words about value and purpose and those things were never spoken by the members of my family to me or each other. As far as I know, have no recollection of that at all. But I had an example that was lived before me. Now, they were far from perfect people, just like your family members. There's none of our families that are perfect. If we had any measure of perfection about us, we wouldn't be needing Jesus the way we do. I love what Paul said in Galatians 2:20. I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ lives in me. The exact literal translation from the Greek into English should be translated this way. I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I that live, but Christ lives in me. That's the literal translation. You see, that's the greatest thing lacking in man, is God himself. And when we take care of that lack, our imperfections are overridden by his perfection. He's the one that makes us perfect, complete. Perfect in the sense, when the Bible talks about perfect, it's not talking about a situation where a human being never ever again makes a mistake or sins or whatever. It's talking about completion. Perfection in the sense of being a complete person. My family was far from sinless, far from being complete in every respect, just like all of us are. But they had a value system that had been put into them by their parents and on back as far as it goes, I suppose. That was ingrained into me to want my life to count. My wife is the same way. She came from a family that was almost a mirror image in many ways as far as value system. In many ways, our families were almost a mirror image of each other. Now, there were a lot of personality differences and a lot of circumstantial differences. Many where circumstances were completely different, personalities and so forth. But value system was almost exactly the same. And she has that same thing ingrained into her. We want our lives to count for something. We don't do this for religious reasons. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you realize it or not, but I'm probably one of the most least religious people you know. I don't place any stock in religion at all. All religion is man-made. What I'm concerned about is godliness. I don't care about rituals. I don't care all that much about traditions. Traditions have their place, I suppose. But most things that we do out of tradition, we just do out of tradition. And it really doesn't mean a whole lot to us other than it's traditional. But then right on the other hand, there's nothing at all wrong with having certain things that you customarily do. The Bible speaks of Jesus doing things that were according to his custom. But the greatest thing we need to do is live. Live a strong life. I have been blessed. My wife and I have been married coming up this November, I think 48 years. This coming November. I was just a couple of years away from that big 5-0 deal. I remember when I mentioned my grandparents earlier, my grandfather and grandmother on my dad's side. He was a great entrepreneur. That's where I got my entrepreneurial spirit from him, I'm sure. I remember when they had their 50th anniversary. It kind of gives me pause because I remember thinking how old they were. They really weren't when they celebrated their 50th anniversary, but I thought they were ancient. So now I look back on that, and I realize what, how Caroline and Ethan and Isabel see us. Sometimes Caroline, not too long ago, Caroline asked her grandmother, Mima, how old are you? So you know what's going through her little mind. But we have had a strong marriage, my wife and I. It has, for 48 years, it has been a wonderful, good, strong marriage. I mean, what you see is what you get. We don't hide anything. The way you see us, that's the way we are. There's no put on. There's nothing hiding in the closets. There's no, we don't fuss and fight all the time. Notice I said all the time. But you see, it goes back. Our relationship didn't start with us. Her parents had a very strong marriage, strong relationship. My parents, now her parents were married much longer than my parents were because my mother died young. My parents were only married 20 years. But the 20 years that they had together, they had a very strong marriage. They modeled what marriage is supposed to be before my brother and sister and myself. Her parents did the same. And we have those models in large measure to thank for the strength of our own marriage. Our two sons have had a strong marriage relationship modeled before them, and they have strong marriages. None of us have had perfect marriages. Yours isn't perfect either, and on this earth it's never going to be. There's always going to be things about your spouse that you surely would love to see changed, different. He is not a perfect man. She is not a perfect woman. On this earth never will be. If that's what you're looking for, if that's what it takes to have a strong marriage, you will never have one. And I won't either. So if you're looking for that, you're looking for the wrong thing. There's always going to be things about your spouse that irritate the fire out of you. Single ladies, if you're looking for the perfect guy, he does not exist except at the right hand of the Father. God only made one of them, and he didn't make him. I mean, he's been forever past and will be forever future. If you're looking for the perfect spouse, you'll never find him. Guys, if you're looking for the perfect gal, you'll never find her. She does not exist. They're all flawed, every one of them. You don't have to get that strong, do I? Come on now, cut me a break, she said. A family member of mine joined a dance club looking for a spouse. People do a lot of things. They come to church looking for a spouse. They join dance clubs. This was a square dancing club. And so his first time to go and attend square dance, he didn't just jump right in the middle. He just sitting over to the side watching everything, and he was watching them all. And he was sitting down beside this guy, and he was looking over, watching them dance and all this. And after a little while, the guy looked over at him and kind of grinned, and he said, "Go ahead, look them over real good. They all got problems." That's why Paul said, if you want to marry, go ahead. It's better to marry than to burn. He's talking about burning with passion. If you want to marry, go ahead. I spare you, he said. But you're going to have trouble in the flesh. Now, all that's true. But in spite of all of that, you can still have a strong marriage. And strong marriages make for strong families, and strong families make for strong lives. Now, what about you folks that didn't have a strong, your parents did not model that strong example to you? Perhaps they divorced, and so you come from a broken family, and maybe you've had divorce in your own life. If you're still breathing, it's not too late for you to make of your life what you want it to be. I don't care what circumstance you're in. If you still have breath in your body, you can go to Galatians 2:20 and change whatever needs to be changed. Because this is the answer. Every problem in your life has an answer. And it's right here. I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I that live. In other words, you need to come to a place where it's not your life anymore. If it's still your life, then you got a ways to go spiritually. I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I that live, but Christ lives in me. To the extent that we allow Jesus to live in us, to that extent we live the abundant life. And even if you were perfect in doing that, you would still have problems. Your life would not be trouble-free, even if you perfected Christ living in you, the hope of glory. If you perfected that, you would still have trouble in the flesh. Well, how could that possibly be? Look at Jesus' life. Did he have any problems? Did he have any troubles? Was everything perfect for him? He was perfect, but everything wasn't perfect for him. Because nobody else he dealt with was perfect. And he ended up paying the ultimate price for us all. So, abundant life does not equal trouble-free life. That's not what makes for abundant life. What then does? What is the measurement of abundance? That's a good question, isn't it? Have you ever thought about that? What is the measurement of an abundant life? Jesus said that's what he came to give us. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. What is the measure of an abundant life? Somebody throw out some. Security is a good one. Quality of relationships, okay? It is true that the quality of our life is directly related to the quality of our relationships, isn't it? Okay, what else? Peace. That's a good one too. So what we're seeing here is, and this is the point I wanted to bring out, it's not, the measurement of abundant life is not just one thing. It's many different things working together, all of which are a part of God, that come to us only through God. It is impossible to live an abundant life by God's definition apart from God. What Jesus meant when he said, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly, what he meant by that, his definition of abundant life, cannot be lived without God. Can a person have some measure of happiness without God in their life? Yes, they can. Can a person live a comfortable life and have many of this world's goods without God? Yes. But a truly abundant life cannot be lived. If a person lives their life, now get a hold of this because this is what we're going to close on. If a person lives their life without God, when they reach the end of it, it is all vanity. It is all empty and without purpose. No matter how much money they may have made, no matter how much they may have built their own reputation, no matter what they may have accomplished, they're going to look back upon an empty life if they have lived their life without God. Because man's highest purpose is to have fellowship with God. So, strong relationships make strong families. Strong families make strong lives. And we can have it all. But it's going to cost us something. If you're going to live with the same woman and do it successfully and happily and fruitfully for 48 years, it's going to cost you something. If you're going to live with the same man, it's going to cost you something, same way. What's it going to cost us? It's going to cost us our lives. Because love is the giving of oneself to another. For 48 years, my wife has poured her life into me and our family. And I have poured my life into her and our family. Is that the only thing we've poured our life into? No. We've also poured our life into your lives and many, many other people's lives. But all of it is only possible because God has poured his life into ours. And when we're pouring our life into one another, we're letting it happen by him. Letting him love us, each of us, through others. Amen.